Atlanta rapper YFN Lucci was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The rapper, whose real name is Rayshawn Bennett, pleaded guilty to one count of violation of the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. He is one of a dozen men indicted on racketeering and RICO charges back in 2021.
Right around March 3rd of 2022, he gets stabbed.
Correct.
What was the situation around that?
Well, look, all I know is that, the prosecution, we continue to say we want nothing to do with YSL case.
Leaked footage of YFN Lucci going through it in jail has just hit the internet, and it's spreading like wildfire. The video shows just how rough things are behind bars for the rapper, and fans are buzzing about what this means for his future. Let's break down what's really going on and how Lucci ended up in this mess. So, who's Lucci and what's up with this trouble that he got himself into? Basically, it all went south when YFN Lucci teamed up with some Bloods from Miami to take on his rivals in Atlanta. Lucci and his crew have been locked up for years after catching RICO and murder charges. But it wasn't just local Atlanta guys he was rolling with. Back in 2020, Lucci linked up with a group of Bloods from Florida known as the Miami Boys. They even made music together with a rapper named CP3 from that crew, who helped Lucci shoot music videos in a part of Miami that most people wouldn't dare visit. CP3 and his homie Liddy are part of a notorious Blood set from North Miami called BH, aka Bloodhounds. CP3 has been in trouble before too. He got arrested in 2015 for gun possession and evading the cops, then later for robbery, keeping him locked up until 2020. But prison didn't slow him down. A few months after getting out, he was in Atlanta, rolling with Lucci and shooting at their enemies in December 2020. Lucci, CP3, Liddy, and James Adams went on a mission to hit their rivals. Adams was recording the whole thing on his phone, not knowing it would be his last day alive. When they spotted some guys on the street, CP3 and Adams started shooting from the car, hitting one of them in the stomach. But the other guys fired back, hitting Adams in the head. Lucci, who was driving, sped off when the shots were returned. Instead of taking Adams to the hospital, though, they pushed him out of the car and left him to die in the street. A passerby found Adams bleeding out and called 911, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. It's not clear how the cops tracked Lucci and the others down so fast, but by January 2021, warrants were out for their arrest, and Lucci turned himself in. Rumor has it Adams had been recording everything before he got shot, so if the cops found his phone, they probably had all the evidence they needed. After a couple of years fighting the case, Lucci, CP3, and Liddy all took plea deals instead of going to trial, which could have ended in life sentences or even the death penalty. In the end, CP3 got 25 years, Liddy got 15, and Lucci got 10 years in prison, with another 10 on probation. But jail in Atlanta was rough for them, especially CP3, who almost got killed in August 2023 when a video surfaced showing him getting jumped and stabbed by guys allegedly linked to YSL. Luckily, CP3 survived, but he wasn't the only one who almost didn't make it. After Lucci got locked up, someone tried to shank him in prison, and he claimed there was a hit out on him. Reports say that two YSL affiliates, Big Briss and Antonio Sumlin, allegedly asked Young Thug for the green light to take out Lucci, with another YSL member named J-Man supposedly being the one who stabbed him. Here's what we know about the prison situation. YFN Lucci claimed he was stabbed on February 9, 2022, while incarcerated at Fulton County Jail in Atlanta. Lucci alleged he was attacked from behind while on a video call with someone outside the jail. He claimed the attacker used a homemade shank. An incident report obtained by credible sources confirms that Lucci was involved in a fight on February 9, 2022, where he and another inmate had sharp objects in their hands. Lucci suffered a laceration to the head during the altercation. Both Lucci and the other inmate received medical treatment and were cleared. They were both charged with fighting, interfering with security operations, weapon possession, and issuing threats. Following the incident, Lucci filed court papers in an effort to get out of Fulton County Jail, citing fears for his life. Lucci asked the judge to grant him bond so he could be released from jail and await his trial while on house arrest. He offered to be on 24-hour home confinement and wear an ankle monitor. 3 YSL members were later charged with attempted murder in connection with this stabbing incident. While Lucci claimed he was stabbed, the incident report describes it as a fight where both parties had sharp objects. The exact details of what transpired may still be subject to investigation or legal proceedings. What's for sure is that this incident sparked something way greater than people could have expected. A full-on gang war was initiated. The beef between Lucci and Young Thug's YSL crew has been going on for years, but it wasn't always like this. Back in the day, everyone was cool with each other. Both Thug and Lucci came up in the same part of Atlanta called Zone 3. Thug was originally repping a blood set called the ROC Crew, also known as Raised on Cleveland. Later on, he carved out his own path and started YSL. Lucci grew up not far from Thug, but he was part of a blood set called Atlanta Blood Gang, ABG, which falls under the Inglewood Family Bloods umbrella. Lucci wasn't even trying to be a rapper at first. He was more focused on the streets, but his brother K convinced him to hit the studio and start the YFN movement. One of Lucci's biggest supporters back then was a guy named Big Nut, who was well known around the city and had connections with everyone, including Thug and the RC Bloods. After Lucci decided to jump into rapping, it was Big Nut who kept pushing him forward. Nut even hooked him up with a local manager named Fly, who was also managing Rich Homie Quan at the time. Quan had strong ties with Thug, and the two of them were hitting the studio together, planning to drop a collab tape. But instead, Birdman added them to his Rich Gang crew and started pushing them hard. Thug and Quan dropped the track Lifestyle, which went platinum, and their project, Rich Gang, the tour part 1, blew up too. It looked like Thug and Quan were about to take over the whole industry together. But then, in 2015, everything suddenly fell apart. Fans who weren't in the loop about what was really going on in Atlanta were shocked. But it turns out that behind the rap beef, there was a deadly war brewing. In January 2015, Big Nut was standing outside a barbershop when shooters rolled up and killed him. Rumors were swirling from the start that YSL was somehow involved, but it took years for the cops to make any arrests. Now, 5 YSL affiliates have been charged, and police say Thug is the one who rented the car used in the hit. Rich Homie Quan announced he was leaving Rich Gang just a few months later. Some people think everything went south after Big Nut's death, but Thug might have been involved in something even earlier. A few months before Big Nut was killed, Quan's dad was shot inside a barbershop and barely survived. According to some leaked paperwork, Rich Homie Quan believed Thug had something to do with that shooting too.
News Since 4, we're hearing from a man who says he chased the gunman who shot a popular Atlanta rapper's father. Channel 2's Tom Jones now live in Northwest Atlanta, where police say, Tom, that the gunman got away in a black Honda Accord.
Justin, that's right. That's also the description of the car that witness told me. He chased down this road after he heard gunshots coming from Lamar's barbershop. The victim survived the shooting, a shooting many in this community think is connected to the victim's son, Atlanta rapper Rich Homie Quan.
Rich Homie Quan is here.
Atlanta rapper Rich Homie Quan, whose real name is DeQuanis Lamar, is one of the hottest artists around.
You had a really bad situation recently where your dad got shot.
Yeah, man.
How hard was that getting that type of news?
That was pretty hard, bro. You know what I mean? I really try not to talk about it, but like, that shit was hard, man. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I got a career still at hand, you know what I mean? And at the same time, like, my career doesn't stop. You know, so, you know, I go see him every day, you feel me? Like, to this day, my dad still is in the hospital, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, he's still in the hospital?
Yeah, he's still in the hospital. You know what I mean? My dad been in the hospital for 2.5 months.
Quan's dad allegedly had issues with Birdman and didn't want Quan to sign with him, which is why there were rumors that Birdman and Thug might have wanted him dead. Quan rapped about his dad getting shot on the track, Daddy saying, "When I see him in that ICU room, boy, you know I went crazy, 'cause I couldn't see my daddy like that. That's my baby." In other words, he's my best friend, talk to him daily, did it to him, I hope they praying to God. But he can't help you in this situation. If Rich Homie Quan really thought Thug was behind his dad getting hit, it makes sense that he would distance himself from him. Fans were bummed when Quan and Thug started beefing. but the war between Thug and YFN Lucci was about to turn deadly. The first time fans got a hint of the beef was when Lucci started throwing shots at Thug on social media. He posted about hooking up with Thug's fiancée, Jerica Carle, and even shared some alleged DMs where they talked about taking a shower together. Thug didn't respond much at first. He just tweeted a shout out to Lucci, calling him a young king and saying he was trying to get on. But Lucci didn't stop there. He took the disrespect up a notch by tweeting a video of Thug's daughter with the caption, "Ya long live, nut forever." Things cooled off for a bit after that, and both Lucci and Thug focused on their own careers. In 2017, Thug dropped his mixtape, Jeffrey, which blew up, especially because of the viral cover art where he wore a dress. Lucci kept his momentum going too, collaborating with artists like PNB Rock and dropping new projects. For a few months, it seemed like the beef had settled down, but then in June 2017, Thug dropped a project on Tupac's birthday, claiming on Twitter that he was the new Tupac. Lucci clapped back, tweeting that Pac would have never worn a dress. Thug responded by saying, "Thank God you're able to take care of your mama. Be humble. Doing too much could become a deep sleep." At first, it seemed like Lucci and Thug were just trading shots online, but by 2018, it became clear that the beef was way more serious and deadly than anyone thought. Thug's homie, YSL Duke, was leaving a strip club in Atlanta when he noticed two dudes following him. Sensing something was off, Duke turned around just in time to see one of the guys pull out a gun and start shooting. Duke managed to run behind a car and escape without getting hit. Later, someone got arrested for the shooting, and there were rumors that Duke had snitched. But then, some paperwork surfaced proving he wasn't working with the cops. The beef between Thug and Lucci flared up again on social media, with Thug saying he was going to slap Lucci the next time he saw him. Just weeks later, Lucci's car got shot up. When the police arrived, they found his G-Wagon riddled with bullet holes, and someone inside had been shot twice. Lucci wasn't in the car, but the cops believe he was the target. Right after the shooting, someone spray-painted Slat on Big Nut's grave. Slat is a term Thug and his YSL crew often use, so everyone assumed they were behind it. But that wasn't the only time YSL allegedly tried to take out Lucci. Back in 2016, while Lucci was in Florida, he got a call that his mom's house had been shot up. He rushed back to make sure she was okay. Someone had fired almost 20 bullets into the house, but thankfully, no one was hurt. Then, there was another incident where Lucci's mom's house got shot up again. This time, both his mom and her best friend were hit in the legs. Lucci's baby mama, daughter, and brother were also in the house, but luckily they weren't injured. Many people believed YSL was behind the shootings at Lucci's mom's house. Prosecutors in Young Thug's RICO case claimed that Thug bragged about the incident on his track Bad Boy, where he raps, "I shot at his mommy, now he no longer mentioned me." Thug's homie, Yak Gotti, also allegedly referenced the shooting in his song Take It to Trial, where he raps about shooting at someone's mom. Courtroom Thug is still fighting his RICO case and could be facing a life sentence, but Lucci might be coming home soon. In June 2023, news broke that YFN Lucci had been offered a plea deal from the prosecutors. They wanted Lucci to plead guilty to felony murder, aggravated assault, racketeering, and violating the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act, and still hit him with a 20-year sentence. He would have had to serve 17 years behind bars before he could get out, so Lucci turned down the deal and decided to take it to trial instead. Taking a RICO and murder case to trial is always a gamble. You could end up spending the rest of your life in prison. But in this situation, Lucci definitely made the right move. About half a year after they offered him the first deal, the DA came back with a new offer. Lucci pleaded guilty to just one charge of violating the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act, and in exchange, all the other charges got dropped. He still got hit with a 10-year prison sentence and 10 years of probation, but with time served, Lucci could be out in just a few months. The judge credited him for the 3 years he's already spent locked up, and he's eligible for parole after serving 40 months, which means he could be free in less than 4 months. As soon as news broke that Lucci had taken the deal and might be getting out soon, rumors started flying that he had agreed to testify against Thug in his RICO case. But Lucci's lawyer quickly shut down the rumors, calling them all cap. According to Lucci's team, he has nothing to do with Thug's case and has repeatedly told prosecutors that he doesn't know anything about it. While taking the plea deal, Lucci apologized to the family of James Adams, saying his heart goes out to them.
I want to say my heart goes out to my friend James Adams and his family. Also, I want to apologize to my family and my friends for putting them through this stressful process. And I would also like to apologize to the court. And that's it.
And as you heard, he took the chance to talk because he wanted to apologize to his own friends and family for putting them through such a stressful situation for the past few years. It's unclear what's really going on with his case, but it sounds like there's more happening behind the scenes that we don't know about yet. Stay tuned for updates as more info comes out. As this whole situation unfolds, it's clear that the streets and the courtroom are both battlefields for Lucci, Thug, and their crews. With Lucci possibly getting out soon and Thug still fighting his case, the drama is far from over. It's wild to see how deep this beef goes, with all the social media shots, street violence, and legal battles. Whether you're a fan or just following the story, there's no doubt that this is one of the craziest sagas in the rap game right now. Stay locked in, because things are about to get even more intense.